Story 1. So far, it has been a constant annoyance. It does essentially nothing for me because I need and want real sources for my information. However, it complicates my search for legitimate sources as a significant portion of the internet is now generated content. It is also frustrating that whenever I encounter an AI-generated summary on a topic I actually know about, it is either overly simplified to the point of being misleading or just incorrect. Therefore, the overly confident answers it provides on other topics are automatically questionable, even when I am not knowledgeable enough to understand why they are wrong. Additionally, I have to constantly hear about it, scroll past it at the top of every screen, and see it integrated into every single application, regardless of whether I want it there. I am sifting through an overwhelming amount of irrelevant information every time I want to find something. It is omnipresent and completely unhelpful. Story 2. It is becoming so commonly used that every time my parents show me something and I point out the artificial intelligence, they get upset with me as if I were responsible. They would rather believe in false information than accept that they were deceived. Story 3. I need to look closely at pictures or videos to determine if they are created by artificial intelligence or if they are real. Story 4. It has created a sense of uncertainty in my industry, making everyone concerned about how they will support themselves in the coming decades. Story 5. I used to make decent extra money doing simple graphic design and copywriting work. However, that income has significantly diminished. I feel bad for those who relied on it as their sole source of income. Story 6. Artificial intelligence has frustrated me by its existence. It leads uninformed individuals to recommend its use, claiming it is remarkable, and disrupts some search engines by guiding me towards strange search results. Story 7. I have to sift through unnecessary distractions to find the information or artwork I am looking for. I encounter this question increasingly often. Story 8. It has caused more annoyance. Inappropriate search results, poor use at work, and unattractive art that all looks the same. Story 9. It's almost entirely negative. I need to improve my spelling in my writing. You can't trust pictures and short videos anymore. You can't trust anything written about topics you haven't researched. Artificial intelligence is highly frustrating. Story 10. As someone working in education, I have seen an extremely demoralizing shift in student attitudes toward the naive belief that artificial intelligence will think for them for the rest of their lives. Motivation has plummeted. Assignments that barely a few years ago would cause commotion and excitement now induce legitimate meltdowns in students who complain that it is too much work. I do not blame the students. They are young and molded by an environment that does not encourage education or self-application. A widespread sentiment I encounter is that everything has already been made or discovered, so why do we need to learn? I understand that students have always been resistant to education, and complaining about the youth is a time-honored tradition, but the last few years in America have made it clear to me that something is deeply wrong. I do not even use artificial intelligence in the workforce, as I find it often not helpful for the tasks I would theoretically use it for. However, seeing how it has permeated the younger generation with hopelessness is disheartening. Kids are smart. They can read between the lines even if their literacy scores are suffering. They know that the people promoting artificial intelligence to replace human jobs are not their allies or friends, and this is evident in how they talk about the future. The youth in America do not have an optimistic view of what lies ahead. So why even try? I do not blame artificial intelligence solely for our crises in education. And yes, sometimes it is the phones, but in my view, its introduction has noticeably pushed something over the edge in students. They simply believe the future consists only of robots and see no reason to continue building their own human skill sets. It is frankly terrifying. I think that someday, after this is hopefully regulated, a significant portion of the students currently in American education will be regarded as a lost generation. The statistics you see about students being 5 to 6 grade levels behind in academic abilities are no exaggeration. It is not just artificial intelligence, but in its current form and application, it is not helping the situation. Story 11. Life as a musician is much more insecure. Colleagues who create temporary, library, or add music are experiencing significant rate cuts as they are now or soon to be replaceable. Collaborators I work with frequently use artificial intelligence tools, such as AI drummers, synthesizers, and track creators instead of hiring additional musicians. There are many AI-generated vocals instead of working with human singers. This, in turn, harms the music community as no musician is being compensated for training the models. Story 12. Every Google search result has become significantly worse, especially when I'm looking for images. At this rate, Reddit has become my primary search engine because every other search result is filled with low-quality content. I find it hard to believe those who claim they are not affected unless their internet usage is limited to Reddit. Search engine results and quality have declined, whether intentionally or due to the overwhelming amount of artificial intelligence content being generated. I look forward to meeting someone who has only relied on artificial intelligence as their information source and has developed a flawed understanding of the world. I just noticed some replies here stating they have replaced their search engine with artificial intelligence and use it as their sole source of information. This suggests that general intelligence is likely to decline significantly. Story 13. In some subtle ways, the impact is significant. Consider the algorithms and artificial intelligence behind all major online tools we use daily. I hardly rely on ChatGPT for anything. It does not provide information that I cannot find with a decent Google search myself. Its writing skills are not better than mine, at least in my own language. So when taking editing into account, I am still faster at writing any reasonably good text. Story 14. The main way it has affected my daily life is constantly hearing people talk about it and telling me to use it. I also encounter more frustration than usual every time I have to search for anything online. Story 15. I attended a presentation about my employer's artificial intelligence policies, where the presenter admitted that they do not understand artificial intelligence. Story 16. It is frustrating how widespread misinformation is. I worry about my parents not being able to distinguish between what is real and what is fake. I do not understand people's obsession with it. A living, breathing human did not create that beautiful work of art, so it lacks artistic merit. Story 17. There is still no ethics surrounding it. People are ruining lives with fake artificial intelligence content and media, such as nude photos and videos. These do not necessarily have to be sexual. They can simply make it look like someone said or did something they did not. Story 18. Working in information technology, the amount of fixing I have to do has skyrocketed due to scripts and programming code not working. The reason is clear. Many people lack knowledge, rely on AI tools, and simply copy and paste their way until they encounter a problem, leaving me to troubleshoot the issues. Story 19. Whenever I try to look up information for work, the browser always suggests some artificial intelligence responses. Since I am an expert in my field, and because artificial intelligence is merely scraping the internet and consolidating its findings, I have quickly come to realize that many of those responses are incorrect. This has made me increasingly skeptical of non-cited responses on social media. Story 20. It hasn't happened yet. I am in information technology, and I strongly suspect that in 5 to 10 years, there won't be as many jobs left. The number of people needed to manage an enterprise environment will decrease significantly. Story 21. I use it to summarize data at work all the time and to help me outline talking points in meetings. It's not perfect, but it has saved me a lot of time in my workday. Story 22. I have done commercial voiceover work as a side gig, but that income has completely dried up in the last 6 months. For the past few years, it helped pay my rent. Companies rely on subpar artificial intelligence voice dubbing for internal training videos and online commercials. Story 23. I question every post and picture I see online. I can't just search for anything online because their artificial intelligence is often inaccurate. Story 24. As a software engineer, I use a large language model to tell me what exists. I provide a detailed description of the problem I'm trying to solve and ask if there are any libraries, frameworks, services, or tools that already address my issue or can get me close to a solution. Google has been adequate for this in the past, but the large language model is faster and more effective in most cases. Once it provides suggestions, I go straight to the source to read more about it and see if it really solves my problem, as well as to access documentation on how to use it. It is rare for the model to completely miss the mark on what something does and whether it is relevant to my problem, but it does occur. My company has also implemented a large language model document search, which is highly knowledgeable about Confluence and can direct me to pages that answer my question, as well as summarize the answer, although I usually skip that. I used to spend hours searching through pages or ask someone in human resources if time was short. The new solution saves both of us time and allows us to focus on more important aspects of our jobs. Story 25. It is excellent for drafting professional emails and messages when I do not have the time or mental space to achieve my goal. It is frustrating when I am trying to find useful information on YouTube, but the search feed is cluttered with irrelevant content. Story 26. My daily check on Facebook to see if my friends have posted anything has become a tedious experience, with many users posting "Amen" under unremarkable pictures of elderly individuals with cakes. Story 27. Well, most I've worked with have been insufficient to be useful in a professional capacity. There's no artificial intelligence useful for my work environment. I appreciate the Google prompts, but it's just a basic layer of artificial intelligence on top of pre-existing processes and merely summarizes information. It saves a click, which is convenient, but it's about 25% useful or accurate. It's fine for simpler and more common tasks, but falls short for obscure and complex inquiries. You can't ask it specific questions, and it primarily relies on main searches. I prefer Bing's prompts since you can ask follow-up questions or request details, clarity, or adjustments. It performs adequately, but it can mislead you, and you essentially have to know the correct answer beforehand to challenge its inaccuracies. I found that I can obtain as much information by searching normally, but artificial intelligence can provide some information more quickly. However, you don't always know if it's presenting accurate data, and it often isn't. You need to have an understanding of what you're searching for to validate its answers. It is frequently incorrect, and what's worse is that it presents its inaccuracies with confidence. One major issue I have is the clutter. Too many individuals are utilizing it and producing a lot of low-quality content. The internet is becoming a digital landfill, and it's astonishing how quickly this has occurred. There is an overwhelming amount of content, search results, and websites populated with low-quality material that lacks actual value. This significantly dilutes information, raw data, search engine results, and content details. I don't even understand the system's profitability. It's resource-intensive and expensive. You're paying a lot for subpar results, and you still need human oversight to refine the outputs. This oversight isn't even cheap. It requires highly skilled and experienced personnel to process the results. If most tasks can be handled by less expensive hires, and the oversight can be minimized, what are you truly gaining? Additionally, you're offloading the developmental work that people need to transition from inexperienced to competent. You're effectively removing essential experiential learning from the equation and automating that process. How do you cultivate new professionals from this point onward? Story 28. It is useful for coding. I can paste in some code, and it usually understands it. Sometimes it is incorrect, so I have to adjust it manually, but that's fine. I mainly use it as a time saver for the routine aspects of coding. Story 29. Google has gone from being a nearly untouchable force for good to being a useless and inaccurate sales engine. Story 30. Made it much easier, primarily due to working in information technology. All basic tasks can be handled by it, saving time. Story 31. It has divided society between those who believe it will bring many benefits and those who do not. I am tired of reading absurd comments every day. Story 32. A side effect of a medication I take is that I sometimes have trouble finding the exact word I am thinking of, even if it is on the tip of my tongue. Artificial intelligence is actually really helpful at finding the word. I do not use it for anything else. Story 33. I still don't use any sort of new artificial intelligence. I only use Google AI after searching for something, which is cool, but most of it is inaccurate. Story 34. I use it quite often for questions I would normally ask Google or during discussions with friends, but mostly for fun. Story 35. Before artificial intelligence, I feel like I didn't have to explain daily to people that they shouldn't take a chatbot's ramble as truth. Story 36. I conduct research and marketing surveys in my free time to pay my student loan each month, and artificial intelligence has two major effects in this area. Poorly designed surveys generated by AI and subpar surveys about AI that do not adhere to standard survey protocols. In either case, it is not worthwhile to participate, as the experience is disheartening, does not compensate well for the time invested, and does not yield meaningful data. The technology enthusiasts are eager for data but lack the ability to devise an effective method for gathering it. I wonder if this perhaps indicates a larger issue. Story 37. Some activities at my day job are now drastically different, while others remain the same. I am currently studying for a job interview and have utilized artificial intelligence to gather all the information about the topics I need to prepare for and format it into an audiobook. I also need to study various laws and regulations. I recently wrote a script to download all pages from government websites, digest the content, and have it explained to me using artificial intelligence. I am not claiming that I will be better prepared for this interview compared to if I were not using artificial intelligence, but it is certainly a much easier experience. Story 38. The chatbot adds personality to my streams and streamlines my Dungeons and Dragons preparation. It enhances the experience, providing AI-generated art for enemies instead of a red dot. It is extremely helpful during sessions when I need to quickly create a non-player character or enemy stat block. While I do not rely on it heavily at work since I can code independently, I do utilize specific features such as embeddings endpoints to calculate similarity scores for datasets. Story 39. I use it as an advanced Google search, mostly Lou Chat these days. It's pretty good, but you need to check the sources. Story 40. I use it to create thumbnails for potential clients who want to commission a painting from me. It benefits me in two ways. First, it is faster, allowing me to produce multiple iterations based on client feedback much more quickly than I can by hand, often with numerous changes requested before the client is satisfied. Second, potential clients do not receive my original sketches or watercolor miniatures, which they sometimes decide to keep without paying for the actual painting, which is not acceptable. My actual paintings can be in any physical medium. Story 41. Well, when I'm at markets, 40% of the items sold are artificial intelligence-generated t-shirts and cups for $20. I even saw wind chimes for $60. I also don't know whether an image is real or fake. Story 42. It has increased the spread of misinformation, heightened customer service frustrations, caused job loss for countless individuals, negatively affected the arts, and made social media nearly unusable. Fortunately for me, this has been a frustrating annoyance, but we are only witnessing the beginning of these challenges. Story 43. It made life far more annoying, cluttering up the internal space with useless information. It's really frustrating to see people acting like it's a cool gadget without acknowledging the massive environmental impact it has. Story 44. I have several friends who work as illustrators, and they are in trouble. It is sad because you can take their life's work and train artificial intelligence to replicate it in a few hours. Additionally, websites like Etsy are now flooded with derivative, low-quality art that is dropshipped. Consider phrases like "wine o'clock" or merchandise that imitates Disney. Story 45. It is an irritant. I have to continually disable it as best I can in various places, like my phone. I see people I know using it for writing, and it's pretty obvious they don't write like that. I know people are busy, but either do things right or don't do them at all. Generative artificial intelligence output is not doing things right, in my opinion. Seeing companies like Microsoft, Apple, and Google pushing generative artificial intelligence on customers makes me lose respect for them. Story 46. Honestly, the people complaining about artificial intelligence have affected my life more than artificial intelligence itself. People have no idea how important artificial intelligence is to fields outside of entertainment or how long it has already been used, and that there are different types. It is frustrating that there is a blanket prejudice against it. Story 47. I have no data, but I feel that finding a job is harder. I have 15 years of experience in my career and have been unemployed for over a year. I've never had this much trouble finding a job. I know the economy is declining and my industry has experienced many layoffs. However, this has been true in the past and it did not feel as challenging. Story 48. It's the most annoying thing since TikTok. You can't take a moment without hearing about it. I don't use it willingly, and I want nothing to do with it. Once my phone gets too overloaded with artificial intelligence, I'm getting rid of it, and I will try to find a phone that has none. If that doesn't exist, I will go back to email. Story 49. Everyone is trying to use artificial intelligence now. So frustrating. From misinformation to lazy money-saving schemes. I thought major corporations were annoying before. Story 50. The results are often disappointing. Each time I search for information, I must sift through significantly incorrect artificial intelligence content to find what I need. Story 51. Annoying, I don't like it. If Zuck doesn't stop, I'll leave Instagram where it's abundant. I don't know why they think we want this. Story 52. It made me realize that Skynet will not launch all the nuclear weapons and hunt us down with killer robots. Instead, Skynet is going to turn humans into a labor force to fulfill its needs, and we will be doing so happily while cheering it on. Story 53. The only thing that has changed is the people around me telling me how powerful this tool is, how they are going to be fired in a few years because artificial intelligence is taking over their jobs, and how it will lead to the demise of the universe one day. Other than that, I use it to ask simple questions or get a quick workout at the gym when I'm feeling lazy. Story 54. I am downvoting many more YouTube videos than I ever have before. It is pretty obvious when the voiceover is artificial intelligence, especially when it mispronounces common words. Story 55. I enjoy paper crafting. There used to be many great designers of printable paper on Etsy, featuring fun and interesting designs created from scratch. Now, much of it is low quality and driven by artificial intelligence. Even the store-bought options are largely the same. As a result, I buy significantly less crafting paper on a daily basis. Story 56. I am coming around to it, but not to the proliferation of fake content. It still bothers me. Since I learned that I can run it locally without an internet connection, I like it more. I didn't appreciate the environmental impact or the ease of use that discourages critical thinking. However, if I can download it and use it for my personal needs, I feel like I have gained a tool without ethical concerns. I am learning how to code using Codecademy, and I tried their AI design to assist with the learning process. I was actually very impressed. It helped me learn the coding concepts and accurately explain the course overview, clarifying the function of various buttons. It is improving, but I believe that if you are going to use it, you need to understand it first. I still dislike how some people misuse it. Story 57. I used it for my previous job as an executive assistant, but it was sloppy. It hallucinated in the middle of a task, so I had to do my job twice. First, I completed the task using artificial intelligence. Then I had to clean it up. Story 58. My manager uses it to create assessments at our English language school. They contain mistakes and are not as good as something written by a human. Story 59. I use it as a project advisor for my hobbies. It is great at troubleshooting ideas and concepts. It is also helpful in suggesting alternatives to my current practices. Frankly, I love to ask for advice. Story 60. I used it for my previous job as an executive assistant, but it was unreliable. It would produce incorrect information in the middle of a task, so I had to redo my work. Initially, I relied on artificial intelligence, but then I had to clean it up. I use it rarely nowadays, mostly to check my grammar, but I still keep an eye on it. Story 61. I have an artificial intelligence integrated rice cooker. I don't know why it has artificial intelligence. Zojirushi makes great appliances. So far, it hasn't attempted to take over my kitchen. Story 62. All my smart home devices rely on artificial intelligence, so they barely work anymore, like Google Assistant. It's frustrating. Random AI for searches makes me want to avoid information altogether. Story 63. While I agree with the common negative aspects, it has aided me in one regard, particularly in the character I am developing. The character is an artificial intelligence that desires to understand human emotions. When I asked my friends to assess its interactions with others, they perceived a human side, which I prefer not to incorporate at this stage but may consider later. The artificial intelligence I am using is helping to diminish that human emotion and quality of my character for the time being. I will stop using it once my artificial intelligence character evolves to exhibit more human emotions. Story 64. It costs me money. The website and email hosts I use for my business have both added unwanted artificial intelligence features that I didn't request, and they increase the price because the AI is now included. There is no subscription plan available without the AI. I am exploring other options, but migrating everything would be a significant undertaking, and I currently do not have the capacity for that. Story 65. I have long discussions with ChatGPT every day and learn a lot. I'm in Bangkok right now and have talked about why the old king was so popular, why the new king is less popular, and how the alphabet works. The squiggles are apparently vowels and pitch indicators. I asked for a nice family-friendly rooftop bar close to our hotel, and we had a great time at Red Sky, although it was quite expensive to eat there. I also use it for work, but it often hallucinates about advanced Azure functionality. Story 66. Artificial intelligence is already affecting people's lives, and many have no idea it is happening. It is used in supply chain management, logistics, and even in traffic control systems. Story 67. I dislike where artificial intelligence has originated but have accepted that the genie is out of the bottle. I come from an art and animation background and have no formal computer science or programming training. I have used generative tools to explain certain concepts or algorithms in terms I am familiar with. So far, it has mostly helped me better understand what I already knew, but with the correct terminology and application usage. I then use Wikipedia and Stack Overflow to double-check such information, but it has generally been accurate. I would not trust the code it provides as far as I could throw it, but it has been useful as a learning resource. Story 68. My work began utilizing the system, and I am assisting with its early development, which feels like I am setting up my own downfall since it will support my current team's role. It's exciting to see your work come to life, but it's also a bit daunting because you can be reassured numerous times that it won't replace your job, and that reassurance doesn't alleviate the concern. Story 69. The number of ROM calls has increased because the Google artificial intelligence retrieved the number for a pizza place with a similar name to ours, especially when asked through the Google Digital Assistant. As a result, I frequently receive calls requesting pizzas at my law office job. Story 70. I use a social media platform to make spooky spaghetti figures made out of spaghetti that are extra scary with a happy marinara sauce. Story 71. I was going to say it hasn't, but I'm quite tired of seeing older individuals post artificial intelligence images that they believe are real. They are usually accompanied by the caption, "I bet 99% of you won't share this." Story 72. One of my main hobbies is coloring, and it is now very difficult to find new coloring books online that are not artificial intelligence related. Story 73. I am an artificial intelligence developer, and I have worked with it extensively for the past decade. However, with the rise of natural language processing models and the increasing presence of AI everywhere, I find myself being compared to prompt writers, which frustrates me. Now, some individuals can write a prompt without understanding the implications, simply copy and paste it, and call themselves artificial intelligence developers. Story 74. I use it as a search engine to find solutions to computer bugs that I need to fix while programming. I have also generated some art portraits for my role-playing game characters, so I have something to include in my personal character sheets as general appearance aids. That's it. Story 75. Forcibly implemented artificial intelligence at work has made us less productive. We have to wait for it to load incorrect information so we can delete it. Story 76. It really hasn't. In some instances, it has been beneficial, but in such a minor way that it's hardly worth mentioning. A far bigger impact has come from the discussions I've seen regarding it, and it just makes me shake my head in disappointment. Story 77. For me personally, it's been nice. I just bought an apartment with a backyard, and I don't know anything about homes, so it's been teaching me a lot. It's great for actually understanding Serbian grammar, where resources are rare. Boring tasks at work are a lot less time-consuming, so I can focus on my actual work. I also had my best-paying job in the artificial intelligence training field, so I know enough to understand that it will never replace my language-related jobs. As long as sales professionals and mathematicians are in charge, the algorithms will improve, but the language will never be flexible enough. However, as usual with for-profit thinking, it's been overdone and poorly executed, making the internet an overall less informative and more boring place. Some advancements in medicine are great, but everyday applications of artificial intelligence are a plague on our society and environment. Story 78. I work in information management, and artificial intelligence has become a constant buzzword at work over the last year. We keep trying to implement tools without any understanding of how they work and without being particularly strategic about their usage. If you want to ensure you receive funding for an initiative, you need to incorporate artificial intelligence into it somehow, or it probably will not happen. It is exhausting. Story 79. Instead of looking up code on Stack Exchange, I now search for it using an artificial intelligence. It saves a few minutes of searching online. Story 80. The biggest annoyance for me is that my dad can't tell when something is artificial intelligence. So he'll show me photos or videos, especially those artificial intelligence movie trailers, and I have to tell him, "Dad, it's fake." I do enjoy the chatbots. It's kind of like having a soundboard, and I don't have to worry about it judging me. Story 81. In no way whatsoever do I use it or come across it. Unfortunately, thanks to it, the field I am studying to work in will be non-existent, so it will definitely affect my future. Story 82. They introduced Copilot into Windows, so now I have converted my entire family to Linux. Additionally, I had to add AI_generated to my blacklist on R34. Story 83. Every art website I used to enjoy is now filled with AI-generated content, which frustrates me. With Pinterest, I can at least remove pins I dislike from my homepage, but DeviantArt is almost entirely disappointing. I have also left some subreddits like Wizard Posting because more than half of the output was AI-generated, and I would be criticized or downvoted if I expressed my discontent. Story 84. It hasn't affected me personally, but it has come up at work. We recently downsized our accounting department from 8 to 7 people using artificial intelligence tools. We implemented software that streamlines procedures, and after proving it worked well, we chose not to renew a temporary hire who we had brought in when one of our accountants unexpectedly quit. Story 85. There is so much information available now that used to be difficult to find online. Every year, search engines have become less effective for me regarding certain topics, such as parts of a book or historical events. Previously, I could quickly find an easy-to-understand summary of specific concepts like Dante's Inferno. Now, if I think, this will take too long to look into, I can simply ask and learn about it right away. It's only for my personal curiosity, not for work or education. It is also great for checking the grammar of my social media posts in English like I did with this one. I realized that this constitutes about 50% of my usage, which was impossible before the advent of current artificial intelligence. I am very thankful for artificial intelligence and optimistic about the future because of it. Story 86. Personally, not at all. I try to avoid it as long as possible. I don't trust artificial intelligence. The road to hell is paved with good intentions. Unfortunately, it's getting increasingly harder not to employ or encounter some form of artificial intelligence assistance, mostly because I am forced to. Story 87. AI is for people who want answers, not for those who seek answers they can act upon or learn from. Story 88. It made reading and grading exams much harder. I teach adult students, most of whom are in their late 30s and early 40s. Story 89. It has been a significant annoyance. Whenever I want a reference image, it is always AI-generated pictures. It is constantly in the news and has diminished my motivation to pursue a career in art professionally. While it can be fun and a useful tool, I attempted to use it for better visualization of my ideas and then complete the rest myself. Alternatively, I could have AI generate random stories and words, possibly in a humorous voice, reminiscent of how the internet used to be. Story 90. Luckily, my job has no use for it, and I don't use it at all in my day-to-day life. However, I dislike having to constantly be on alert, always questioning whether artificial intelligence was used in the content I am viewing, and I dislike that we have to think about this now. Story 91. Negatively, I can't search for anything easily anymore. I play Dungeons and Dragons, and the number of people who want to use artificial intelligence to write adventures or create characters is disheartening. I have to be cautious with any piece of art I encounter. It's awful. Story 92. The copywriter position at my workplace has been eliminated. I am a junior graphic designer. I now have to use ChatGPT to generate the content and make feedback edits for all projects moving forward, with no pay raise either. Story 93. I am finding uses for it at work to enhance employee productivity. I believe it is years away from being the kind of replacement worker that marketers suggest, but it can definitely assist as part of a larger data automation system with human oversight reviewing its actions. If I can reduce spending hours transcribing freeform data into a fixed input system down to a 5-minute review of what the artificial intelligence accomplished, then that employee is freed up for more meaningful human-to-human work that we want to accomplish but cannot do to the demands of daily data transcription. Story 94. I spend an increasing amount of time on the Futurism subreddit trying to talk sense into people with their delusional ideas of sentient artificial intelligence and, what is worse, artificial intelligence suffering and rights. Story 95. It has made my life significantly easier. I can upload my notes and PDFs into the notebook and ask questions, receiving immediate answers along with reference locations. I can provide a worksheet and have it filled out with the relevant information. I can also have it break down concepts I find difficult to understand. I can write an outline and draft, and it will return a polished essay that flows seamlessly from one idea to the next. In terms of parsing, managing, and recalling information, artificial intelligence has done for my tasks what graphing calculators have done for statistics. I no longer have to plot every data point by hand. I can simply provide the raw data, input a formula, set the parameters, and observe the results. You may call me lazy, but the truth is that the time saved allows me to be more productive elsewhere. Story 96. As expected, anyone who speaks positively about it is downvoted. The echo chamber has expressed discontent when someone answers a question they were asked because they dislike the subject of the question. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.